Hiya YouTubers, this is Superman G coming back at you one more again. And in this video, I am going to show you how to upgrade the Dell Inspiron 1 2020. Now, this particular Dell computer is an all-in-one, which means that it has the monitor and the computer all built into one machine, whereas most are separated by the machine and the monitor. So this is for those who may have a system like that, or who are wanting to know how to get into those systems so you can make upgrades. In this video, that is exactly what I have to do. I have to upgrade this computer's hard drive and upgrade the memory. Right now the hard drive is running the standard HDD. I will be upgrading it to the SSD, and the memory is only 4 gigabytes, and I have to upgrade it to 8 gigabytes. So hopefully that'll make it faster. Okay, there is a piece of equipment that you will need for this upgrade, and I will show you that during this video. I will also have a link in the video description showing you where you can get this equipment from, and it's not that expensive, but it's very handy and it's good to have in your toolbox just in case you need it, and there may be a time that comes along when you will need it. So with that in mind, let's get to the video. The first equipment we're going to be upgrading is the memory. We're going to be using 8 gigabytes of crucial 1600 megahertz SODIMM memory for our first upgrade. For our operating system drive, we're going to be using the Silicon Power 512 SATA 3 SSD. This drive comes with a 3-year warranty and it's 512 gigabytes. For the backup, we're going to be using Acronis True Image 2020. This will back up the information from the old HDD drive to the new SSD drive. First, we have to install Acronis True Image 2020 in order to clone our drive. Next, we'll be using our USB to SATA connector to connect our new SSD drive to the computer. Connect the SATA cable in to the back of the SATA port of the SSD drive. After you've connected the SATA end of the cable to the SSD drive, connect the USB end of the cable into a USB port in the computer. Your connection is now complete. You are ready to back up or clone the drive. Once we are in Acronis, we need to make a tool first. We need to make a rescue media builder via USB. So you're going to go to Tools, Rescue Media Builder. On Choose Creation Method, you're going to select Simple. On Choose Media Destination, you're going to choose Acronis Backup. From there, you'll see a summary. Make sure you select Format the selected media and click Proceed. At this point, the program will format the USB drive, and it will copy the necessary information to the USB drive. After the creation has been successful, you may click the Close button at the bottom, and your media creation tool has been created. And this is just in case you have to restore your computer back from a failed install a virus infection or a malware infection or anything that prevents your computer from starting up correctly, and also restoring any files or programs that have been accidentally or maliciously deleted. Now you are ready to clone the drive. Choose Clone Disk, and Acronis will go through the initializing stage. At Clone Disk Wizard, choose Clone Mode. You want to select Automatic. Select the source hard disk from the list below. This is the disk that is installed inside your computer. Not the one that you just attached with the SATA cable, but the one that is installed inside of your computer. Highlight that and click Next. At this time, Acronis will need to get information from off the hard drive that is in your computer. Depending on the size of the hard drive and the speed of your computer, this may take some time. In this next section, you will choose where you want the information to be copied to, which drive. In this case, select the target hard disk from the list below, which is the destination disk, the disk that we connected to via the SATA cable, which is disk number 3. It says it's not initialized, but it's okay. Acronis will initialize it. Choose Next. Acronis will now prepare the drive to receive the information or copy the information from the source drive, which is this drive inside the computer, to the drive that is connected via the SATA cable. Once again, this process could take some time, so please be patient. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to speed through this process. On a summary page, Acronis shows you the source disk and the target disk. The gray before is what the target disk looks like with nothing on it, and the after shows you what it will look like once the information has been copied to it. If everything looks correct, click Proceed. Acronis will now start the cloning or copying process. This is another moment where it may take some time for the process to complete, so please be patient. For the purpose of this tutorial, I am going to speed this process up. Once Acronis has finished the cloning process, it gives you instructions or directions on how to use the cloned drive. You may use it for whichever purpose you intend it for it. At this time, you may close out Acronis and shut down the computer. After shutting down your computer, you want to disconnect the SATA drive from the USB port in the back of the computer. This next segment involves opening the computer to change out the components. The first thing you want to do is take off the cover to the back of the connecting stand to the monitor. There are 4 screws on both sides of the stand that you have to remove. After you remove the screws, lift up on the stand and pull it towards you. Next, you want to take a plastic pry tool and pry the sides of the computer apart. You want to start with the DVD side of the computer until it separates. You should be able to fill a gap in between the back of the computer and the front. Take your pry tool and pry open the sides of it, starting at the top and working your way down the side of it, and the back should pull apart. Continue to pry apart the back cover from the bottom until the entire back cover lifts off. Although it is not in the video, there are 3 screws that we have to remove in order to take out the hard drive from the computer. One is located here, the second one is located here, and the third is located here. Once the screws are removed, slide the drive to the left to expose the SATA data cables and remove them from the hard drive. Here is the SATA data and power cable that we removed from the back of the hard drive. Now we remove the 3 screws that secures the hard drive to the hard drive caddy. Now all that's left to do is to remove the hard drive from the hard drive caddy. This could be as simple as lifting up on the hard drive away from the caddy. Now comes that piece of much needed equipment I told you about earlier. You see how this SSD drive fits into the hard drive caddy, but it doesn't fit? The hard drive caddy is too big. The SSD is not a good fit. From here, you bring in the piece of equipment that I talked about, which is the 2.5 inch to 3.5 inch SATA drive converter. This tool is a must-have whether you're working on laptops or desktops, because it helps to correct the issue of having a small SSD drive fit into a large hard drive caddy. Now, line up the connecting ports of the drive converter to the connecting ports of the SSD drive. Make sure that you get the orientation correctly. Line it up and slide the drive onto the converter. Make sure you push forward until all the gold connecting ends have disappeared inside the connection. This may take a little force, so be patient and take your time. When you have finished the installation, this should be the end result of what you will have. The SSD drive is connected to the drive converter. Now we have to use screws in order to secure the SSD drive to the drive converter. Should need about 4. Now take a screw and secure it in the securing holes to mount the drive to the converter. Take your time with this process. It is possible to put the screw into the hole at an angle, and if that happens, do not proceed. Back out and try again. Under no circumstance should you proceed due to the fact that you could break or damage the drive. After securing a drive to the converter, this should be your end result. Now we use 4 more screws to attach the hard drive caddy to the hard drive converter. After securing the drive to the caddy, you are now ready to secure it back to the computer. Now reconnect the SATA power cables from the computer to the SATA ports on the drive converter. Make sure to check the orientation. Slide the drive back in place and secure it with the 3 screws that were removed earlier. Locate where the memory is and remove the screw that secures the memory cover. Remove the cover by lifting up on the side, top, or bottom and pushing it up. To remove the already installed memory, on the side tabs, push them outward. The memory should then pop up. When it does, lift up on the memory and take it out. When removing the memory from its packaging, make sure to grab it by the top and not the bottom where the gold-plated fingers are. This area should not be touched. Alternatively, you can also grab it from the sides of the memory. When reinserting the memory, make sure the orientation is correct. It'll only go in one way. Push it in at an angle, push it down until the gold fingers are no longer visible, and press down until the gold sides connect and hold the memory. Now reinstall the memory cover plate. Place it on top until it's flush, press it down, and secure it with the securing screw. Now replace the back cover onto the computer. Align the tabs to the computer and press down to secure it. Make sure all sides are snapped back in place. Place the stand back in its place by tilting it at an angle and inserting it up and releasing it. Replace the 4 mounting screws to the back of the stand. Place the stand cover back in its place and secure it by pressing down firmly. In the BIOS, we now see that we have 8 gigabytes of memory installed. We also see that our solid state disk 512 gigabytes is installed. Once all the information has been verified in the BIOS, you may shut down or restart the computer. This completes this tutorial on how to upgrade the Dell Inspiron 2020. I hope this helps you guys out. Take care, be safe, peace out.